Is it really Tai Chi? The importance of inquiry, integrity, and authenticity. Over the past several years, I have noticed an increasing number of martial arts schools and wellness instructors promoting their curriculum with demonstrations and videos titled Tai Chi Form, Advanced Tai Chi, or Traditional Tai Chi. As someone who has devoted approximately 45 years to studying and practicing martial arts, qigong, Dao Yin, and 25 years of authentic Tai Chi, I often find myself asking a simple question. Is it really Tai Chi? Before discussing why this concerns me, I should acknowledge that I was once in a similar position myself. This is not intended as an insult or criticism of those genuinely trying to help others improve their health. Many instructors are sincere, compassionate people who believe they are offering something beneficial. Slow movement, controlled breathing, stretching, and mindful exercise all possess tremendous value. The problem arises when those practices are presented as authentic Tai Chi without sufficient knowledge to justify the claim. In today's world, the name Tai Chi has become a powerful marketing term. Unfortunately, many people equate slow movement with Tai Chi. Yet moving slowly does not automatically transform a sequence of movements into Tai Chi Chuan any more than moving quickly makes it Shaolin Kung Fu. Authenticity requires much more than appearance. My own journey of learning. Before I critique others, it is only fair that I acknowledge my own past. I too was once young, enthusiastic, and in many respects, naive. Like many martial artists, I trusted the knowledge that had been passed on to me. I believed I was being taught authentic and even advanced Tai Chi, and in turn, I sincerely taught what I had learned to others. Among the forms that I taught were Tai Chi Chung, Chung Moo Hyung Tai Su, Tai Yu, and Tai Guk Jung. At the time, I genuinely believed these represented legitimate Tai Chi forms and perhaps even advanced expressions of traditional Tai Chi lineages. With decades of additional study, practice, and exposure to authentic Tai Chi systems and their historical development, I gradually came to realize that my understanding had been incomplete. Those forms had little resemblance to what is traditionally recognized as Tai Chi Chuan. While some contained beneficial movement, coordination, breathing, and wellness exercises, they were not representative of authentic Tai Chi as I now understand it. I was not intentionally misleading anyone, rather I was teaching what I sincerely believed to be true. Looking back, I now recognize that good intentions alone do not guarantee accurate instruction. Experience, continued study, intellectual honesty, and the humility to admit when we have been mistaken are all essential parts of personal growth. Today, I believe one of the greatest responsibilities of any instructor is not simply to teach with confidence, but to continually question, verify, and refine one's own understanding. In many ways, this discussion is as much a reflection on my own journey as it is a discussion about the importance of authenticity within the martial arts. The questions every student should ask. Whenever I see an unfamiliar Tai Chi form, numerous questions immediately come to mind. What is the name of the form? Who created it? What style of Tai Chi is it? What lineage is it associated with? How old is the form? Who taught it to the instructor? What distinguishes it from qigong or slow motion kung fu? Why is it being called Tai Chi? What makes it an advanced Tai Chi form? What prerequisites should a student possess before learning it? What martial applications exist for each movement? What internal principles are being developed? What is the correlation to yin and yang, the 5 elements, wuxing, and bagua? These are not hostile questions. They are respectful questions. They are the kinds of questions that preserve the integrity of an art that has evolved over several centuries. Inquiry is not disrespect. Inquiry demonstrates respect for the art, the teacher, and ultimately the truth. So what makes Tai Chi actually Tai Chi? Tai Chi Chuan is far more than a graceful series of slow movements. Authentic systems possess defining characteristics that distinguish them from other movement arts. While different lineages emphasize different aspects of training, legitimate Tai Chi generally includes a documented historical lineage, clearly identifiable style characteristics, principles such as relaxation or song, structural integrity, rooting, whole body connection, and Peng Jin. Coordinated use of intention, or yi, and body mechanics. Martial applications for every posture. Partner training through push hands, or tuishu, or equivalent sensitivity exercises. Progressive development of refined power, or jin, rather than muscular force alone. And internal training methods integrated with external movement. Without these foundational elements, one may still be performing valuable exercises, but those exercises should be honestly described for what they are. There is absolutely nothing wrong with teaching qigong, teaching therapeutic movement, or teaching slow kung fu. Each has its own unique value. They simply should not be presented as something they are not. The mathematics analogy. I often compare this issue to mathematics. Suppose someone claimed to teach advanced calculus while possessing only a superficial understanding of basic arithmetic. Would we accept that? Of course not. A competent mathematics instructor understands addition before algebra, algebra before trigonometry, and trigonometry before calculus. The same progression exists within Tai Chi. One cannot reasonably claim mastery of advanced forms while lacking a firm understanding of foundational principles such as alignment, weight shifting, rooting, body mechanics, relaxation, and martial function. Memorizing choreography is not the same as understanding an art. Choreography versus understanding. Many people can memorize movement sequences. Actors memorize scripts. Dancers memorize choreography. Musicians memorize compositions. Memorization, however, is only one component of expertise. The well-rounded instructor understands not only what is being performed, but also why. Why does the weight shift here? Why does the spine rotate in this manner? Why is the pelvis positioned this way? What is the martial application? How does this movement develop structural integrity? How does this posture cultivate Peng rather than collapse? Without answers to these questions, students are learning choreography rather than principles. Eventually, choreography reaches its limits. Understanding does not. Sincere ignorance versus deliberate misrepresentation. It is important to acknowledge an important ethical distinction. Not every instructor who teaches questionable Tai Chi is intentionally deceptive. Some instructors simply do not realize the limitations of their own training. This reflects what psychologists refer to as the Dunning-Kruger effect, in which individuals with limited expertise may overestimate their competence because they lack sufficient knowledge to recognize what they do not know. Ironically, those who have practiced authentic Tai Chi for decades often become increasingly humble. The deeper one's understanding grows, the more one appreciates the vastness of the art. Intentions matter. A sincere instructor deserves more compassion than someone knowingly misrepresenting themselves. Nevertheless, good intentions do not transform inaccurate information into accurate information. A sincere misunderstanding remains a misunderstanding. Students deserve honest representation. Perhaps my greatest concern is not that these instructors exist. Every discipline has beginners. Every discipline has developing teachers. The greater concern is representation. If an instructor says these are movement and exercises inspired by Tai Chi principles, perhaps there is honesty. If an instructor says this is a wellness exercise I developed from several martial arts systems, perhaps there is honesty. If an instructor teaches qigong while calling it qigong, perhaps there is honesty. However, if someone claims to teach advanced traditional Tai Chi, yet cannot explain the origin, lineage, principles, mechanics, or historical development of what they are teaching, students deserve to know that. Words, terminology, and accuracy matters. Critical thinking is a martial virtue. Traditional martial arts often emphasize respect, loyalty, humility, honesty, and integrity. Ironically, these same virtues should encourage thoughtful questioning rather than discourage it. Students should never feel guilty for asking the following: where did this come from? Who taught you? Why is it performed this way? How does this differ from other styles? What evidence supports these claims? Authentic instructors rarely fear these questions. In fact, many welcome them. The instructor who understands an art generally enjoys discussing its history, philosophy, mechanics, and evolution. Those discussions enrich everyone involved. These concepts go way beyond Tai Chi. Although this discussion centers on Tai Chi, these principles extend far beyond martial arts. They apply equally to healthcare, psychology, religion, philosophy, politics, science, education, and countless other disciplines. Healthy skepticism is not cynicism. Inquiry is not rebellion. Critical thinking is not disrespect. Rather, inquiry is one of the highest forms of respect because it demonstrates a sincere desire to understand reality rather than simply accept appearances. As I have written many times before, wisdom often begins with asking better questions rather than collecting more answers. In summary, one of the greatest lessons I have learned throughout decades of martial arts practice is that external appearances can be remarkably deceptive. A beautiful performance may possess little substance. A simple movement practiced with extraordinary understanding may contain profound depth. And ultimately, authenticity is not determined by how impressive something appears, how many social media followers an instructor possesses, or how eloquently they market themselves. Authenticity is demonstrated through knowledge, experience, honesty, humility, and the willingness to accurately represent what one knows, and equally important, what one does not know. Students deserve that honesty. Traditional martial arts deserve that honesty. And in an art that places such emphasis on ethics, character, and personal cultivation, accurate representation is not merely good business practice. It is part of the practice itself. Perhaps the greatest lesson is this: inquire, then inquire more, and then inquire even more. Ask thoughtful questions. Think critically. Seek understanding rather than appearances. For it is through discernment, not blind acceptance, that genuine wisdom, authentic instruction, and meaningful self-cultivation are ultimately found.